A brief introduction. My name is Carlos Conde, as Maddie told you all, and I lead Elire Treasury Center of Excellence. I've been working in the banking, cash management, and treasury fields for over 23 years and have worked with many different ERP, TMS, and other treasury platforms across many different industries and organizations in both the private and public sector. First of all, to start things off, I'd like to give everyone a quick rundown of the 2024 ETE and the session scheduled for today. This is the keynote, the first session. So for those of you who plan to attend additional sessions, here's a rundown of what we're offering today. As Maddie pointed out, there are some sessions that are certified for CTP credits, which I know a lot of you will like to earn. Those on the slide you're seeing have an asterisk next to them. Of course, the first session we're having today is the keynote, and it's exploring collaboration between Oracle ERP and Treasury products. Then at 11, we have two sessions. For those of you who have attended in the past, you may notice that we are having a one-day event instead of 2 days. So there are some overlapping sessions. At 11 o'clock Central, we're having Embracing Sustainability, which is an ESG presentation. That's a new topic. That's something that is hot out there. So hopefully you'll attend that. And we also have Leveraging Advanced Technology and Risk Management and Fraud Prevention. Then at 1 o'clock, we have a partner presentation with Kyriba, Artificial Intelligence for Treasury, the good, the bad, and the scary. Also at 1 o'clock, we have another session about maximizing efficiency and controls with in-house banking solutions. Then later on in the afternoon at 2 Central, we have a project governance and managed services session and a painless payments, navigating payment formats for pain-free integrations at 2. And to wrap things up at 3 Central, we have a working capital session and a bank connectivity session that talks about bank connectivity and cash forecasting. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into this session, which is exploring collaboration. With the introduction of new and updated tools in Oracle's EPM platform, there are a number of things that can bring new functionality, better business processes, and can work collaboratively with ERP and other systems to help treasurers and other departments streamline and improve operations. In today's presentation, we're going to highlight a number of these and discuss how they can integrate with existing processes and tools. And I'm delighted to have one of my colleagues, JJ Gutierrez, presenting with me today. And with that, I'm going to let him introduce himself. JJ?
Thank you, Carlos. Good morning, everyone. My name is JJ Gutierrez, and I'm associate partner at Elire. I've been in the EPM space for the past 20 years. Over the course of my career, I've had the privilege of working with many diverse clients across various industries, just kind of guiding them through the complexities of an EPM roadmap. My expertise lies in demonstrating leading practices within the EPM space, making sure companies drive efficiency, enhance decision-making, and achieving their strategic objectives. Today, I'm excited to share insights and solutions that can transform the way Treasury departments approach performance management, ensuring you have the agility and accuracy needed to thrive in today's dynamic business environment.
Thanks, JJ. A brief overview of our agenda. We're going to give everyone an overview of EPM for those of you who are maybe not as familiar as you would like to be. We're going to look at some of the EPM modules, specifically with functionality that can help cash managers, treasurers, and others in an organization. And then we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into 3 of the specific modules that are closely related to treasury cash management operations within an organization. So, but before we get started, since this is the first session, I wanted to give everybody a brief background of who Elire is and what it is we do. Many of you are familiar with us from past ETEs or maybe interacting with us as clients or prospective clients. We were established in 2005, originally as a treasury consultancy, but we've grown and expanded into many different areas, treasury, ERP, IT, management, and management consulting. But as this is a treasury-specific event, the ETE, the Elire Treasury Experience, we're going to concentrate a little bit more on our treasury experience. which as a firm includes more than 25 years of experience amongst our resources. And we've helped clients with over 250 treasury implementations across ERP systems, treasury management systems, and treasury solutions. We do offer a full range of services, as I mentioned. We have Oracle Cloud, ERP, and HCM implementation and advisory services, PeopleSoft services, a dedicated EPM and analytics practice, which JJ will talk a little bit about more in a few minutes here. And of course, treasury services, as well as strategic advisory and managed services across several areas. So to give a little bit more background into our treasury practices, we are a treasury agnostic firm. We don't license or sell software. We are partners with several software providers and very proud to be so. We're partners with Oracle, FIS, Kyriba. So we do offer implementations across those platforms. We also have a treasury advisory services practice. And we also have managed services to support treasury post-production and whatever's needed in that area. So again, we do have our roots in treasury, and we're going to be talking in this session about how we're expanding that with into areas such as EPM. And with that, I'll let JJ go over our EPM practice.
Thanks, Carlos. Our enterprise performance management services practices, the leadership has been working together for the past 15 years. And so that cohesiveness has allowed us to implement more than 300 successful EPM projects. We've started out as a planning and budgeting focused group, but since EPM has expanded its tool set to closing consolidations, account reconciliations, data analytics, enterprise performance management, we've added consultants to do a lot of those other tools as well. And so EPM itself has become a very well-rounded tool set in the financial reporting and budgeting or financial reporting world. And then we also are starting our managed services practice, which is post-implementation. So this is helping clients, maintain the applications as the EPM suite of tools grows, the complexity grows, and so maintaining and managing those systems becomes even more important.
Thanks, JJ. And just to wrap up about Elire, this slide we use to show that we have customers and have helped clients across many different industries and verticals in both the public and private sector. So we don't concentrate on any single industry, any single vertical. We have expertise across many different areas in both treasury and other practices. So with that, let's start off. Like I mentioned, we'll take a deeper dive into what Oracle EPM is and how it can be used to collaborate with other treasury systems and processes. And for that, I'll hand things over again to JJ. JJ?
Like I said earlier, Oracle EPM stands for Enterprise Performance Management. It's traditionally known as a planning and forecasting budgeting suite of tools. But since it's moved to the cloud, Oracle's really expanded the suite of tools to a well-rounded suite that helps companies not only close the books, report the data, forecast the data, but also maintain the structures around that. So really encompassing the entire process from start to beginning from a financial reporting perspective. So they've added tools to manage hierarchies and manage the data around the data, which is metadata management. This provides a lot of change control in terms of managing the hierarchies that go across not only ERP, but the entire EPM suite of tools. But they've also added closing consolidations, which FCCS, account reconciliations, which I'll be getting into in detail during our presentation, but they've also are including to add new topics such as sustainability, such as what we're talking about today, predictive cash flow. So the value of your license is only increases over time. As new topics arise in the financial space, Oracle is adding to your licensing, and so the value continues to increase. We're hearing a lot about AI and machine learning, And Oracle is also embedding a lot of that content within the EPM suite of tools. And so I'll be showing you today different ways that AI and ML is being incorporated into not only your planning and budgeting, but also your account reconciliation process. So you can see this is a typical slide that we walk into when we first are walking into an EPM implementation. You can see that there are a lot of data silos, and so as organizations have grown, they've added new systems, and so the purpose of these systems is to create data. So if you think about general ledger, we're supposed to close the books, and if you think about subledgers, or you think about operational data for, let's say, inventory management, you can see that we are creating a lot of different data sets, and there's a lot of data flowing through. So there's a lot of different structures that are flowing through into your organization. And so the problem becomes, how do we organize all of this data? How do we apply change management across the organization so that we have one version of the truth with this data? And so you could see, with a complex structure like this, you need a tool to manage the process around the data, manage the data integrity, make sure that we're getting all of the, we're looking at all the same structures. And so this is where Oracle EPM does a really good job from a reporting standpoint in consolidating that into a single view and a single interface. You can see we have Excel all over the place, because as organizations start to report data, the struggle is we're extracting data across multiple applications in different ways, and then we're validating that data across different areas of the organization. And so the EPM aims to simplify that process in organizing that with a single tool, a single user interface. And so that we can show kind of the better version of your financial reporting solution here in the next slide is the future state. You could see that we have ERP data, we have data warehouse data, we have Excel data, all being integrated within a single tool. So as far as learning in an integration between, let's say, your operational data and your financial data, and then your reporting tool, EPM provides a single interface for that. We can connect to different data sources, not only Oracle, but all ERP systems. And so the nice thing is you're learning a single tool to integrate all of your data. You could see now that we're able to consolidate and close our books. We're able to perform accounts reconciliation. We're able to perform financial budgeting and planning. We're able to do tax reporting. We're able to report ESG. We're able to do our predictive cash flow, all within the same look and feel. And so that is the powerful tool, or powerful add-in that the Oracle EPM gives you, is that you have a single interface. Users are used to looking at, used to interacting with the reporting system in a similar fashion. A key integration here is the integration with Microsoft Office and the Excel added. So all of the functionality that you get within, let's say, the web is also available in Excel. And so we know a lot of folks in the finance and treasury space love their Excel. You know, you can't get rid of it. I know Google has tried to add their version of it, and Oracle is adding Google integration, but a lot of folks love Excel. And so that's actually the premise of the database behind the scenes in Oracle EPM is Excel add-in, is the ability to directly pull data within Excel. And so you have that consistency across the organization of getting that single version of the truth, getting that single interface. So everyone's kind of in step, learning the same tool, and Oracle's only continuing to add value with new functionality like we're going to be talking about today with the predictive cash flow. Yeah, and then same thing here, the complexity behind the scenes is the data integration. And so Oracle's done a good job of using the same integration tools across both EPM and ERP. And so there are built-in hooks to to ERP and EPM, but there's also a built-in agent, so you can you can automate a lot of the integration that's moving around. Account reconciliation is a great example of automation. So if you need to manage your inventory and you need to, let's say, take data daily, which is from your inventory management system, or you take daily from your cash balances, we can extract that data from the banks, extract that data from the inventory management system daily, a lot of records, automate that process, flow that in through ARCs, all through this data exchange and data agent interface. And so they've really expanded the capabilities of the integration and allowed you to create more automation around it, so you can create your own. It has the ability with different programmatic REST APIs, not to get too technical here, but there's a lot of different integration points.
Thanks, JJ. With that, we're going to launch our first poll question, and I will ask Maddie to do that, which she just did. And the question is, how would you rate your organization's current planning, budgeting, and reporting systems? We're just trying to take a straw poll here to see, one, if you're using it at all, or have any planning and budgeting and reporting systems, or are processes. So do you rate them excellent, needs improvement, poor, or in many cases non-existent? So we'll give everybody a few seconds here to respond to that before we jump into our next agenda item.
Looks like most people are in the needs improvement camp, with some people having excellent. It's their current planning and budgeting system.
I'd like to talk to those who are excellent, so we get some tips of our own here. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, just like when, they tell you everybody can use some improvement, but, there are tools that we'll be talking about today that can help with that. So in the interest of time, I'm going to move into the Oracle EPM Treasury tool. So as we talked about before, while there are many different modules and tools in the Oracle Cloud EPM product line, as JJ mentioned a few of them, we're going to concentrate on 3 in particular that can be useful for treasury departments, treasurers, CFOs, and those in planning and budgeting, and the organizations and departments that they support. And I know he's probably a little tired of talking, but I'll let JJ take first crack at this with the data analytics.
Yeah, the data analytics piece is the bread and butter of EPM. It allows us to consolidate your financial and operational data into a single interface. It standardizes a lot of the consolidated reporting, and so you get the same look and feel. But it also has the ability to do a lot of custom calculation and custom modeling, and it also has best practice models. If you're a new company or you're trying to maybe align to some of the industry best practices, it does have its own models that you can leverage as well.
Yeah, and we'll be talking, or JJ will be talking as far as data analytics more in depth just after we go through the introduction of the 3 modules we're going to talk about. One we'll be talking about, or I will be talking about, is going to be predictive cash forecasting. So we'll dive into this one a little deeper as well. This one is something that Oracle decided to build on the EPM platform. So predictive cash forecasting can help treasurers, CFOs, cash managers automate cash management, do advanced cash forecasting that may not be available in the standard ERP systems, and also take collaborative action, right? It's the PCF tool, or as they call it, a predictive cash forecasting tool, allows collaboration between many different organizations, departments, and the data. By building it on the EPM platform, they're able to leverage the advanced data and analytical capabilities offered in Oracle's Cloud EPM, as well as machine learning and artificial intelligence that is already delivered in many of the EPM modules. I'm sure all of you are tired of hearing about artificial intelligence, this and machine learning that, but those are the buzzwords today, and you'll hear quite a bit of it, not only in this session, but I'm sure in many others as well. As JJ pointed out, and the EPM modules are meant to complement Oracle Cloud ERP and on-prem ERP, such as EBS or PeopleSoft. But the predictive cash forecasting tool, as well as the other EPM tools, can consume data from practically any ERP or data source and provide the analytics, visibility, and forecasting an organization needs to manage cash flows and liquidity. So predictive cash forecasting is the second of three modules we're going to talk about more in depth. And the third one is account reconciliation. JJ?
The account reconciliation service aims to simplify the visibility within the account reconciliation process. A lot of it is very, very Excel-based, very, very manual. And so we're looking to add automation around that. I know we've got other tools that do the same, but the nice thing about ARCS is that it's within a suite of tools. And so you get more than just account reconciliation. And so the process automation around it as well, integrating with the general ledger, bringing that data in, integrating with different banks, bringing those cash balances in, validating that data against the general ledger. I know that's a very manual process for a lot of organizations, and so ARCS aims to simplify that process and bring transparency to the entire reconciliation process.
Yeah, thanks, JJ. And some of you may ask, what ARCS is. I know it's a kind of a weird acronym. There are a lot of acronyms they're talking about here, but many of you may be familiar with Blackline, which is a very popular, tool out there. The account reconciliation that Oracle delivers, as JJ will show you more in depth in a few minutes here, is something to consider as a alternative to Blackline and other products that are out in the market. So back to data analytics again. JJ is going to take this one in ARCS. I'm going to take the predictive cash forecasting. So JJ gets to go first here, and we'll dive right into planning and budgeting.
Yeah, the PBCS, or planning and budgeting as it's known to, really provides you, simplifies and centralizes the planning and budgeting process. And so what it does is it actually wraps process and calculation around forecasting and budgeting. And so the workflow associated with creating a forecast and budget, the integration associated with creating a forecast and budget, all of that gets loaded into a central repository and a central database. And so we're able to bring in all of the data, calculate all of the data. So there's a couple different ways of calculation. And so if you're willing to leverage some of the best practices, Oracle provides a lot of frameworks. So predictive cash flow is one of them. ESG is one of them. They also have your typical revenue and expense and balance sheet and cash flow forecasting modules. They've got a lot of different modules that you can leverage, or you can bring your own. And so that's the power of the calculation engine. And so we at Elire have implemented all of those solutions, and really our clients have been able to take their forecasting and budgeting to the next level. They can distribute the process to, let's say, maybe a more bottoms-up forecast. And so a good example of a client I'm working with does oil and gas projects. And so they've distributed their forecasting and budgeting to an individual project level. So if you can imagine, they do a lot of storm work, or they do a lot of or restoration, and they do a lot of pipeline and drilling. So each of these projects, so if you're drilling a pipeline across the United States, that's a project for them. But if you're drilling across a pipeline, maybe from me to my, or you're redoing some power lines between my neighbor's house and my house, they're actually tracking that. So they're bringing the process down to a very, very bottom-up level because of the tool. And so you can incorporate as many people as you want in this process. Or we've had other clients from a planning and budgeting process go the other route. We talked about our artificial intelligence. We talked about machine learning. So let's just let the system calculate that for us. And so based on our actuals, historical actuals, PBCS will calculate a lot of that information for you. And so that's the value of having multiple looks at it, right? And so that for me, once you have the calculation engine, once you have the modules going, you have multiple views at it. And so I've had like, I'm sure organizations like yours have maybe an executive view, a bottom-up view, a machine learning view. Now with all of these versions, you can kind of mix and match some of your data. So if you wanted to, if you need to react to something really quick, maybe you can use the machine learning version of the budget, because you don't have time for everyone to get involved. So this is the power of a centralized tool. You have different ways of looking at the data. The reporting is centralized. The business logic is all centralized. So we're all always looking at the same logic. We're all looking at the data the same way. So our organizational structures roll up the same way. If you think about it, you're looking at it maybe from a legal perspective, or you're looking at it maybe from an operational perspective, or you're looking at it maybe from an ownership perspective. The way that this planning and budgeting module works, you get all of these views within a single tool.
And that, yeah, and one point that JJ made that and I want to highlight here is one of the reasons we're showcasing this planning and budgeting tool as something that cash managers, treasurers, CFOs, and others can use is that it takes cash forecasting to the next level. It brings in data, for instance, JJ mentioned, like, for instance, project level data that most of the time would not be captured in a traditional cash forecast. So it allows for better planning and budgeting. And, as JJ also pointed out, machine learning and artificial intelligence to help try to forecast what's going to be needed, when, and where. Back to you, JJ.
Yeah, and so this is the example I talked about with frameworks. And so the frameworks are just Oracle's version of best practice solutions that they've seen over the years. And so the goal here is to speed up implementation. So sometimes if you're trying to implement a new system, you're bringing in consultants to, let's say, maybe drive the process and the calculation around your forecasting and budgeting, and now you have to go and actually code that, and then you have to go through this long implementation. The goal of these frameworks is to leverage a lot of the functional knowledge and experience that Oracle has seen throughout the years of implementing these tools, and allow you to, let's say, maybe get a first cut at this, maybe just interact or load some of your revenue and expense data directly within Excel, leverage their existing model, and then you're quick to deliver a centralized tool. And then from there, maybe you decide to enhance the data or enhance the process. So you have the capability to really increase your efficiency and increase your speed to deploy here. So the other side of it is also another speed to deploy tool is leveraging, they call it intelligence performance management, or IPM is the acronym Oracle uses. So IPM allows you to leverage machine learning. So if you load your actual data within the system, or you load maybe, let's say, your machine language algorithm that you're already using, you can load that directly within PBCS. And it allows you to look at your data using machine learning and intelligent performance. It has the ability to do some predictive planning for you. So let's say you're more of a centralized planning and budgeting FP&A group or treasury group, then you don't want to push this down to the operating units because they're too busy. You can use IPM to create some of these predictive models for you. And so the next screen here shows an example of an IPM Insights report. And so what you see here are basically anomalies in the data, which I think from an implementation standpoint actually really helps, because anomaly, as we're, let's say, implementing your data and loading your historical data, we can find anomalies in the data. Is that just bad data you loaded, or are we seeing different trends? And so IPM Insights, this automatically gets generated once you turn this functionality on and configure it. And so as your actuals get loaded into the system, you can quickly identify, different trends in the data, or artificial intelligence is actually highlighting different pieces that says, hey, this has gone up 54%. Really, what's going on here? Or you predicted this to do a lot better, and it's not. Sorry. So let's take a look at this. So let's improve your forecasting, or let's see what's going on with the actual data or the operational pieces. And so this allows you to react to the changes in business, and it allows you to make quicker decisions. And again, I always highlight Smart View Ad Hoc, because a lot of my clients are typically have 50 or just a lot of Excel sheets open, 10, 20 Excel sheets open, and they just like to operate in Excel. And so PBCS has, like I said, everything built into Excel. So you can interact with all of the models within Excel. You can download the data and then create your own reports, or you can extract the reports and then for the data, and then you can use your own models. Or if you have other operational pieces that you'd like to incorporate into the system, and let's say you don't want to build in all of those integrations because it's just a manual process, you can use existing Excel's models to load data into PBCS. So it goes from a data creation engine to a data consumption engine to a reporting engine. So you can really just stay within Excel, but also have the comforts of a standardized system behind the scene, and have all of the machine learning and all of the new tools that PBCS has.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, after, myself at least, and I know a lot of consulting firms for years, and a lot of software vendors have tried to move people off Excel, for whatever reason, onto ERP and EPM systems. I think, they finally gave up, and if you can't beat them, join them. So there are a lot of companies like Oracle, Kyriba, and others who are creating tools to integrate and work with Excel instead of trying to work against it. So thank you, JJ, for that overview of the planning and budgeting. And so now we're going to move on to predictive cash forecasting. This is one of the newer, actually, cloud EPM modules. It's officially been released a few months now, I want to say. We work closely with Oracle. I know a lot of people there. I used to work at PeopleSoft myself back in the day. So I've been seeing how this tool has been brought along. And now that it's come to fruition, we want to talk about it a little bit today. I wanted to start off, though, showing a fairly recent poll from late last year that Deloitte Global Treasury Survey, asking cash managers, CFOs, and others, what are your top challenges and priorities? And what was identified was that many of the cash managers, treasuries, and CFOs identified visibility in the cash and liquidity to be one of their major concerns. And improving liquidity management and cash forecasting were the top priorities for those surveyed to tackle in the near future. We'll talk about in this session, and then there's actually another session at 3 Central, which I'll plug because I'm giving it, about a little bit more about cash forecasting and bank connectivity. But obviously, cash forecasting, especially in today's environment, is becoming more important. Not that it never should not have been important, but now there are better tools, be able to leverage machine learning, AI, and other technologies to help improve the cash forecasting in a company. So to lay the groundwork, let's take a look at some typical definitions and time horizons of cash positioning and cash forecasting. Those terms can sometimes be used interchangeably. A cash position worksheet usually gives you a point in time look at what your current cash and liquidity is. So based on your most recent bank balance information from either prior day or current day bank statements, as well as any available payment data from receipts, payments, investment and debt service data, Cash position worksheets might be updated, refreshed multiple times per day. There's typically been, a 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., or some typical times just to get a slice of your cash position throughout the day, to see visibility and also help out with investment decisions. Cash positions typically don't go out very far, maybe not past 2 weeks, 10 business days, because the further out you get, the lack of visibility and the data becomes less reliable. Common tools that have been used in the past are ERPs for AP and AR data, bank portals for bank balances and statements, and then a ERP or TMS to compile and produce a cash position report. A cash forecast is meant to be across a fairly longer time horizon. 13 weeks is a number that is used a lot, but it can be anywhere from 1 to 6 or 12 months. The historically produced or compiled on a monthly or quarterly basis and are used for liquidity planning and working capital optimization. Also for longer term debt and investment planning. Because of the desire to do longer range forecasting and modeling, typical processes and tools used to produce cash forecasts have been compiling data manually into spreadsheets and then applying formulas and modeling. So the predictive cash forecasting tools we'll see here is meant to help limit the number of modeling and forecasting has to be done manually or outside of a system. Cash forecasts can, of course, be longer, for long-range cash planning. However, one of the things that the budgeting planning tool can also do is help with that, maybe 3-year capital budgeting forecast or 3 to 5 year capital improvement budget. So cash forecasting can be longer range, but as we just spoke about planning and budgeting, there are tools that are more adept at helping with that. Some of the cash forecasting challenges, not having an automated process for cash forecasting can create challenges. Disconnected systems, having to pull data from numerous sources leads to the inability to make timely decisions and take action on decisions. If I only run my cash forecast once a week or once a month, then I'm only able to act on the results once a week or once a month. And then, a lack of intelligence or a lack of transparency into operational issues can produce risks and impacts to cash and liquidity. One thing about Oracle Predictive Cash Forecasting, while it's built on the EPM cloud platform and was designed to work with Oracle Cloud ERP, it can integrate with practically any ERP system. It uses modern techniques and tools such as APIs to connect to other systems. It can still use the tried and tested FTP and other integration methods. But basically it allows for end-to-end leverage of artificial intelligence machine learning through the ERP or TMS to the predictive cash forecasting tool. ERP data, the predictive cash forecasting tool provides advanced cash forecasting and modeling by taking data from multiple sources and then applying machine learning and artificial intelligence to produce more accurate predictions. It can use historical data as well as other financial and economic variables, and then look for trends, patterns, and build this into its models. It's, like JJ mentioned, I think about, or we'll mention their EPM and Oracle do deliver templates to help you get started. But then these models and templates can learn through data and trends and start to become smarter and hopefully better at predicting an organization's cash flow needs, liquidity needs, and working capital needs. Here we see in this diagram the different data sources that would be the data for the modeling, AI and machine learning helping with the modeling, and then a 13-week rolling forecast, which is typical because 13 weeks covers a quarter and is usually, what's been the standard bearer for looking forward for cash forecasting. One of the results from the PCF module are more accurate forecasts the ability to do daily, weekly, monthly forecasts that in turn can help organizations move quicker, take faster actions. And the worksheets that are produced from the predictive cash forecasting can show not only cash positions and cash forecasts, but can also show actual versus forecast to help an organization measure how accurate and how reliable their actual cash forecasts are, and then take steps to either improve them or bring in additional data to help make them better. Some of the cash forecasting results that you'll get from this PCF tool over different time horizons and spans are rolling forecasts, trend analysis, machine learning, and then artificial intelligence, which is kind of what's behind the name that was given to predictive cash forecasting. We want to use machine learning and artificial intelligence to be able to do predictions using that data to expand upon what's a typical cash forecast you might find in a TMS or an ERP by leveraging the EPM platform in order to make this a much more powerful tool. But not only for the treasurer or cash manager, this PCF tool can help across the organization, right? It can give every part of an organization better visibility into cash flow, liquidity, planning and forecasting, from forecasting AP payments and AR collections to planning and budgeting. The PCF tool can help an organization optimize operations and reduce costs. And with that, I'm going to let Maddie launch our second and final poll question. And this one is probably one you may have been asked in multiple scenarios and occasions is, how does your organization perform cash forecasting today? Manually, automated, or just hope for the best? No cash forecasting. I would hope that we get very few results for the third one, but you never know. And I will take a few seconds for you to respond to the poll before I hand it back to JJ to talk about account reconciliation.
Looks like we've got about 70% of people who have answered so far, with manually being the overwhelming majority with 81%.
Not surprising. There's some old saying about how 80% of the Fortune 500 still use Excel to run billions of dollars worth of investments and assets, but we'll leave that conversation for another day, and I'll let JJ dive right into the account reconciliation piece.
One quick note, Carlos, about the predictive cash flow. I'm excited about that tool. I've worked in the past and manually built out those predictive cash flow models, within PVCS, and the constant changing and the constant updating of the calculations. I mean, we were able to maybe successfully predict it for once we went live, but as they added new organizational units, as the company changed, maintaining that becomes a real problem, and then you're ending up spending time validating the model. And so I think having the template there and then having the predictive piece of it to kind of fill in some of the gaps, because we were close enough to get, let's say, 90% of the way there, but the 10% is where all the executives lives and ask those questions, and to get that number close enough, I think the predictive piece of it is going to be huge.
And that's a great point. It's kind of like the intersection of needing a solution, not only from the ERP side, where the cash forecast did a good job of cash positioning, and then like a 1 week forecast maybe. There wasn't much modeling at all, especially no artificial intelligence or machine learning or trend analysis, that's for sure. So people would then become creative and have people like you help them build these more robust predictive cash forecasting models in EPM. But they themselves also had limitations, which the Oracle's predictive cash forecasting tool is looking to fill that gap. Back to you for the account reconciliation, JJ.
Okay, so As far as account reconciliation, so this is a great tool to validate a lot of the data that's coming through. And I think it also provides a great start to, let's say, using EPM, especially from a treasury perspective. We're able to validate and balance and check balances through a systematic process, through some workflow. And so we can bring in AR, AP data, validate that against the general ledger. Every company does some type of account reconciliation. And it's a very cumbersome process. And so through ARCs and through account reconciliation, we're able to simplify that process, bring all of that Excel data into a tool. You can still consume this data within Excel, funny enough. And we can create workflow around that and process around that. So there's going to be someone who reviews reconciliations, someone who submits the reconciliations, and then someone who is able to, the back and forth of that, be able to attach supporting detail to reconciliation. So there's a lot of, I think workflow is a big thing that account reconciliation provides, and it provides structure to a process that was very, very typically, I will send you an email, you will ping me in Teams when it's done. But having all of this within the system, having all of I'm passing this to the next person. Oh, that person is on vacation. Well, there's a second person that's assigned to this reconciliation behind this system. So there's no longer hey, we didn't do that, or we missed this rec because this person was on vacation. There's a process behind all of this, and there's accountability behind all of the data you have in the system. And so this reduces the time to close, creates a lot of efficiency. And then also, like, another efficiency gained is through calculations. And so, as you know, through in the general ledger, we'll get a lot of accounts and account combinations that are maybe used once and then no longer used. But from an account reconciliation standpoint, we still have, now that intersection is activated, we have to validate that. We have to ensure that the data is coming through correctly. So we can create rules within the system to say, hey, if this balance is 0 and it was 0 last month, let's auto reconcile that process. So that just takes one less email, one less click, one less check someone has to do. Other rule examples are forcing attachments or commentary. So let's say you have to provide supporting detail coming from, your cash system. All right, here's an attachment, and if you don't provide an attachment, it will not let you go forward. And so there's a lot of checks and balances built into the system that do a great job of making sure everyone's held accountable. Risk management is another thing. So you can identify certain reconciliations as high risk, and so definitely cash being one of them. So this is a reconciliation that's checked every month. This is a reconciliation that goes through certain approvals. This is a reconciliation that gets highlighted in reports, highlighted on data sent to auditors. So risk management is a huge part of the reconciliation process. And also just real-time monitoring as to where everyone is at. And so, you can distribute this across the organization to possibly even more people, but then you're going to reduce, just because you've added more people doesn't mean the process has to be more complex. You can track where people are at. You can send them a daily email that their reconciliations are late. So you can monitor and you can track where you are at in the reconciliation process, which generally leads itself to a faster close, right? Because we really need to look at the numbers this month. Let's try to accelerate the close. You can turn those dates up and down, move them around based on the type of reporting you need for the month. And then from when anytime audit is involved, on visibility into the data, being able to have transparency in the process, you get that with ARCs. With ARCs, you have the ability to actually extract the entire process into a report binder. Basically, what this does is creates a zip file that has all of the reconciliation data, all of the back and forth, the commentary, all the attachments assigned to each individual rec. So you can extract all of this within the system, archive it off so that you have it saved off from your own record keeping perspective, but also you can send this to your auditors and say, hey, here are my last 12 months worth of reconciliations. Like, and you get down to as detailed as you'd like.
Yeah, thank you, JJ. I mean, the account reconciliation tool is one that is becoming, it already is very popular and is becoming very popular because it basically can help to a better, quicker, and faster close of the books and a more accurate reconciliation. So that is, we know one of every CFO's goals is to be able to close the books faster, monthly, quarterly, and annually. And with that, we're coming to the end of this session. Just wanted to wrap things up with a couple of key takeaways for everyone. Oracle EPM in particular has some new and improved tools to help complement the existing ERP tools they offer and other treasury systems and tools as well. As we've talked about, this is an Oracle product, but that doesn't mean it's limited to working with only other Oracle products. It can work with pretty much any other ERP, TMS, or third-party system out there. We talked about EPM planning and budgeting, PBCS, how I can help Treasury and Finance with long-term planning and budgeting, and bring different data in for forecasting, as we mentioned, project-level data. Then the predictive cash forecasting tool takes cash forecasting to the next level with AI and machine learning for more accurate and predictive forecasting. And then, as JJ just mentioned, the ARCs, or account reconciliation, delivers powerful processes and tools to help an organization close its books and reconcile its accounts in a timely fashion. So with that, we're really at time. We do have a Q&A. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chats. We will get back to you on those. Feel free also to send them to us by email, on our websites, or other social media platforms. And also make sure to join as many of the other sessions as you can today. Coming up right now, we're going to talk about ESG. JJ will be in that session as well. And we'll also be talking about technologies and risk management and fraud prevention for treasurers. And in close, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us and hope you have a great rest of your day.
JJ, and thank you all for joining. Our $5 Starbucks gift card winners are Fatima Budzinski, Stevie Goida, Heather Young, Rochelle Lockwood, and Nancy Kinman. I'll be reaching out in the coming days to send you those via email. Next up at 11 a.m., we have the concurrent sessions, Embracing Sustainability, Unlocking the Potential of Sustainable Finance and ESG Integration in Treasury Practices, as well as Leveraging Advanced Technology and Risk Management and Fraud Prevention for Treasurers. The links to register for those sessions are available in the chat, as well as the link for the CTP exam for this session. A special thank you to both Carlos and JJ for kicking off the Elire Treasury experience with this captivating keynote. And thank you to attendees for joining this session. As a reminder, please follow us on our YouTube channel, as well as engage with the hashtag ETE2024 on LinkedIn to be entered to win one of our drawings for additional prizes throughout the event. Thank you again, and we'll see you in those next sessions.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.